Hi, all, how you doing? Oh, back out on it again today. I was going to do some yesterday. If anybody saw my little short on Instagram, we had a little power cut in the village, so that meant my shower wasn't working, and I had an afternoon of well, I was out all afternoon, so I really couldn't do without that. So yeah, I'm back out on it today. It's really warm, not quite as warm as yesterday, because I think it was about 30 degrees yesterday, but today it's about 28, I think, around here. I'm trying to get a part of this run where the sunlight isn't terrible on the camera, but I think we're going to struggle, but let's get through it anyway. So yeah, because it's temperature, that means no dogs out with me today, so I haven't got my companion to get me through it. Again, as I said on my Instagram short, I might see Layla coming out with us next week. We're going to take her down to the river tonight and see how she's going on the injury front. She had like a bit of a leg injury that we've been resting her for a bit, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, yeah, even I was thinking about not coming out today because of the temperature, but like I said, I was out afternoon and I was out eating cream teas and well, cream scones and having a fair few ciders. So after that indulgence, I feel like I need to sweat it out for a bit. And you need to beat the algorithm on YouTube, don't you? So I need to be posting videos all the time, so no rest for the wicked. But anyway, I've noticed watching my videos I say but anyway quite a lot. I will try and change that sentence. Here goes. So I'm going to give a bit of an update on the business, where I'm at, what's going off, some of the issues and dilemmas and problems we've got, and maybe this might be a good sort of forum or format for people to give me their ideas. You know, I am, like I say, a total business amateur. Never done this before. I've employed all my life, and the majority of my working career was in the military, so that's not like any employment that most people are a part of. You know, it's like pretty much like going to school. You go to work with your mates, you eat with your mates, you work with your mates, you go away with your mates. So it's definitely, I won't say quite growing up to do when you get on Civvy Street, but it definitely is a bit. But anyway, so the business. I've set up the internet site. So the internet site is heatingallcompare.com. Our business is Heating All Compare UK. And the purpose of it is a price comparison site. Well, one of the purposes of it is a price comparison site, much similar to what you have for your car insurance. So when you log on as a customer, you put in your postcode, put in some of your details, and essentially what it'll do is come up with some of these, some of the cheapest quotes in your area. Which, you know, there's a genuine gap in the market for that at the moment, especially when I realise every time I try to buy heating oil, because I'm, as I've said in some of my LinkedIn posts, I am the stereotypical northerner. I like to get cheaper. So I am prepared to scour through all the internet pages, every single supplier in the area, to find the cheapest price. But if you're elderly, old, you know, you're busy, you might not be able to do that. In fact, you probably don't do that. I know a lot of people in the village I come from, a lot of them are retirees, they just use the same supplier every time. You know, and how can we ensure that people are getting the best bills? How can we ensure competition in the area? You know, how can we ensure that people have got more money in their pockets to spend on other things if it's not really an easy way to find the cheapest price? So that's my idea. The second sort of benefit of this business is the supplier side. And this is also one of my issues as well, which I'll go into in a minute. It's the supplier side. So, if you're a supplier, you want to ensure that you can make sure that I can send the orders to the right places, I can manage my stock, I can set where I deliver to, but also data collection. So you want to know from the customer what time they're ordering, what type of heating oil they're ordering, when they're ordering it, what time in the year. And then you can base a lot of your business strategies off that. So that's what I've engineered in. So not only is it a price comparison site, it is a complete supplier management system. Now, here's the first issue that I've sort of walked into. The supplier management system is sort of, well, I've sort of had to assume what maybe a supplier wants. So I'm not a heating oil supplier. I'm just someone that's all right with IT. So I've had to assume what they would be after. And one of the problems I was worried about at the time when I was developing the site is, well, one, it's kind of hard to get some sort of, or to do any sort of soft, what's the word? Soft deployment of this product or internet site, because of a lot of the heating oil suppliers are typically what you call, what people often refer to as boomer owned, or they're typically owned by people that have had them for a long time, the older generation, and a lot of them don't respond to social media as much. I sent a few emails out to do a bit of a soft deployment and I didn't really get much of a response. So yeah, so I've had to develop a site on the supplier side to what I would expect a supplier would need. And obviously that's got pitfalls, because of, as soon as we start accumulating suppliers, they might come in and say, that's useless, we don't need that. What a waste of time that is. Oh, you're missing that bit, you're missing that bit. And this is definitely one of the anxieties I've had. So what I've actually done is I've future-proofed this internet site. So what I did is I made it so it's easy to modify, and I've set up a system where people can put in their data saying, you know, I don't like this site, or suggestions, whatever else. And then as soon as I've accumulated enough sort of responses to make or sort of have a accumulated sort of trend, I can then start editing the site quite easily to make it available for these future options. So that's one way around it. But the reason I'm telling you this is because I actually have another business idea that I'm going to be talking about in the next few weeks, and I'm going to be doing the soft deployment. So sending out a survey, getting data back, getting people's responses, customers, and well, we'll call them suppliers for now. And hopefully I can get a business model put together and a product put together that should be able to hit the ground running. This one, Heat and Oil will hit the ground running. I'm pretty sure of it. But I can 100% say, and because I've sent out these surveys and that, hopefully I should already have suppliers and customers on board before I even send it out. So that's what I'm doing in the next few weeks. But anyway, going back to Heat Oil Compare. So that was one of my issues deploying this. But one of my main issues at the moment is suppliers. So my site is massively supplier dependent. My comparison tool can't work unless I have a number of suppliers, right? So I need a number of suppliers within a certain geographical area around where your postcode is to make sure I can compare them prices together, whatever they set, and make sure you get the cheapest one. Now at the moment, we're struggling to recruit suppliers. So this is what we've done so far. So I made the internet site, I'm doing this sort of social media, I'm hammering it on LinkedIn. But as I've said, I feel like a lot of these companies, especially when I do this research, a lot of these companies are the older generation owned, or they supply to people who are of the older generation, retirees, etc. Because of I feel a large portion of people that live in these sort of rural townships and villages are the older generation. So I've got to basically give them the benefit. I've got to communicate to them the benefit of that. Now, as you say, I think social media has definitely got a benefit. So I'm doing this because I want people to know that I'm not some, like I said on my last video, some bogeyman that sits behind a site trying to grab people's money. I want people to be able to see who I am, and be able to trust me, or trust me as much as they can. And so I'm doing this aspect of it. Now, some of you might be saying it already, but what I need is sales. I need sales. Now, my sales strategy cannot be based upon social media alone. So what am I doing next? How am I doing this? First, before carrying this video, if anybody had got any better other suggestions, especially moving away from the model of being so supplier dependent on my site working, I'm definitely all ears. Me and my wife have definitely pondered that for quite a while. We can't seem to think of one that's better than that. But anyway, so what am I going to do to sort my sales stuff? So, doing social media, here I am, sending out emails that as of yet have not been responded to. I'm trying different strategies with that. So I think the first round of emails I sent out were quite information heavy. And this second round I did last week, no, it's third round actually, I think. I've been light on the information, but more on the key points. Because I understand when this hits people's mailboxes, when I'm talking about a business from a person they've never heard of, and the heating oil comparison site name, it sounds, well, it doesn't sound suspect, but they've probably never heard of that either. It's really hard to gauge people's interest. So I need to do a bit more. Now, I'm lucky at the moment that my wife, she was an administrator. Well, she is an administrator in a business that she's in at the moment. I am going up one of the biggest hills I know in this area, right? So I'm taking this really slow, so I don't sound like my lungs are about to explode. I'll show you. I don't know if you see that. It's a big old hill, this. But yeah. So, luckily, she's in a job that's very customer facing. And part of her being in administration, she does do sales. And I'm lucky that we've got family members as well, who I've not asked yet. But I'm sort of hoping, if needed, they might be able to come in and mentor my wife on a bit more sales front. And then if my wife gets up to confidence with it, which I think she's really good at it anyway. She's really good with people. She's a really nice lady. And she builds trust with people very quickly. But I hope she will, because she's really nice. And so I don't suspect she'll even need much mentoring. But what my wife's going to start doing next week is getting on the blower. She's going to get on the phone. She's going to start ringing up suppliers. We are going to sit down tonight. Much here to discuss. To just go over make sure we're all au fait. What's with the business strategy, what's going on, pros and cons. Well, I don't need to know much cons because I try not to sell them too much, but all of the aspects of the internet page that a supplier might want to use. And next week she's going to hopefully go out and start ringing up. So let's see how that goes. On top of that, this might sound a bit contradictory to my last videos. I'm just going to turn back round and run back to the hill and run back again because of I start running into the middle of a village in a minute. It might look a bit weird, me talking to my phone like this. Well, I know was slightly contradictory from my last video anyway, that a bit more marketing we're going to do, well, on the marketing side, because of, as I said, these businesses, I feel, not all of them will be, I understand that, I'm probably stereotyping. I've just done a bit of quick research on it, but like I say, a lot of these businesses are owned by people, I would say owned or operated by people on the 40 plus, right? So, flyers. We're going to go back to some old techniques and try them out. Flyers. So my wife last week, she was designing some flyers to send out so we can post them to people. There are a lot of local businesses around here, so I'm going to try and even personally deliver them. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, we're going to send out some flyers as well, some of the old ways, and hopefully maybe that'll help get some suppliers on the go. I fundamentally know, and I fundamentally believe, if I can get a good small group of suppliers, right, I reckon that'll be enough sort of drumming up of word of mouth, and I'll be able to use that on my social media platforms to then hopefully drive up further supplier strength. I don't know, that's the way to say it. Basically, just to get more suppliers on the books. So that's my plan. Then once I've got some suppliers together, pretty much at the same time, that's when I'm going to start pushing marketing to the customer. So I've been hammering SEO, I've been hammering Google Trends, I've been hammering social media. So I'm hoping now the internet starting to generate some noise on the customer front as well. And maybe once we've got some suppliers, maybe I'll need to start exploring some paid boosts and some paid advertising. Also, what I'm doing actually, I've got to say, is I'm getting on the podcasts. I've been messaging people, all the local ones. I'm hardly going to get on Pete McCormack or I don't know, Joe Rogan anytime soon. But there's lots of local ones around here, and I don't know what footfall they've got. I'm hoping that they'll help for local businesses. Well, I'm hoping lots of local businesses look at them. We'll see how it is. But yeah, that's my plan at the moment.